Hey guys, Alex here, talking about aux fed subs and matrix fed subs today. I've had some friends ask me to weigh in on my part of the argument and talk about a little bit about how I set my console up. I think it's a little bit different. If you're not familiar with this kind of classic argument, I suggest you take a look at two videos by two awesome people. The first is Michael Curtis, who has a great video talking about the benefits of matrix fed subs. And the second is Dave Rat, who has a great video that kind of dives in and shows some of the benefits and mechanical things that pop up when you're using aux-fed subs. So I've kind of taken a little bit from both of these that I've applied in the way that I like to set my console up. So I'm going to pause for a second. If you're not familiar with those, go take a look at them, and then let's dive in and I'll show you kind of how I take advantage of both of those things. So I've got a version of M32 Edit here. It's running offline, and I just dropped some channel labels in here to kind of simulate what we might see at a show. So the first thing we're going to do is kind of accommodate for the matrix fed sub approach. And so I'm going to come down here to our bus layer, and I'm just going to set up 3 matrices, main left, main right, and subs. And I'm actually going to capitalize subs, and that'll become a little bit more important soon. I usually use yellow for all my systems stuff. So this is kind of our poor man's systems engineer when we're at smaller shows, right? And so from there, what we're going to do is we're going to send our left master fader, left right, into the mains. At Unity, just like that. And it is going to be a post fader send. So why send those here? It would be the question, right? I personally have some setups, and I don't use them all the time, where I actually will insert waves into some of my channels. It's not the most straightforward thing to do in a M32 X32 situation, just because there's no like insert that you can use, kind of like how Allen and Heath does. So you have to actually like make snippets that repatch like IO and stuff. If you use Mixing Station, you can get it a little bit more manageable. But there have been some times where I've actually fed my master fader out into Super Rack so I can get some mastering processing going on. And in that case, the level of your master fader is going to affect how much processing you're getting, especially if you're also doing anything else inside the console. So I almost always leave my master fader at Unity, and I do systems level work. You know, if the speakers are just being driven too hard and I need to pull it back because it's a small room, I do that on the matrix level. And that's kind of, Michael Curtis's thing. That's a systems engineer decision. You really should make that decision when you set up the venue and not really do a whole lot more with it, right? So that's what's going on here. And then I have one for my subs. That's where my subs will at the end be fed from, but you'll notice that I'm not sending my master fader there. So the next half of this is kind of the Dave Rat approach. So let's make a subs bus, right? This one is going to be lowercase. This is why the capitalization matters. The all caps is denoting the final, if you had multiple things or whatever, I always use caps to denote summing, but that also is kind of like the last stop. So this guy's also going to be yellow. It's going to be subs. I'm just going to bring that up to Unity. So this bus will be parked at Unity. And it's basically, what it's going to do is it's going to function like an on-off switch. So the advantage to the aux-fed subs, as Dave shows us, is that you don't have speakers trying to reproduce sound that they can't reproduce, right? Vocal bleed, like any low bleed in vocals, plosives, stuff that is a little bit out of their range. So at this point now, over here on the side, we have a subs, fader flip that we can use to send things to here. And so then what we're going to do from here is we're going to send the subs bus into the subs matrix. So at this point, anything sent to the subs is being sent to the subs matrix at full volume, right? And this fader staying at unity is the key to the compromise, because what Michael is telling us is that we don't want to be treating the subs as a mix engineered thing. We want to be sending them through to a tuned system. That's what we do in the matrix section, right? When we set up, that's our like system tuning hat. And we don't want to be adjusting that all the time. So, but obviously sometimes at these shows we do have to make a judgment call. So I personally like to have the ability to do that if I need to. But I do like the matrix fed approach of, if I set everything else up correctly, I shouldn't really need to do a lot with that. And most of the time I don't. So at this point now we could come up here and go, all right, subs. And we want, I usually use this kick sub kick combo. If you've never played around with the Solomon sub kick mic, highly recommend giving it a shot. That and a Beta 91A are my go-to kick drum miking choices. So in this situation, I would send sub kick to the subs. My kick in would be for attack only, so it would stay out of the subs, which keeps those working together. That could be a whole nother video. Probably some tom 3 in the subs. Usually I just do all the toms. This is where, maybe the higher toms I mix down a little bit just because of how high, depending on how high they are. Like there are places that can be useful. Bass is going to be in the subs. And that's about it. Tracks will be in the subs too, because they often have little effects sounds. I forgot to stereo link those, so I guess we're running them in multi-mono today. Right? So that's my subs feed. That's all going to pass through to the sub bus, which then gets passed to the sub matrix. So now when I set my PA up, let's say we're in a decently small space, I find that -10 to -12 tends to be my starting point for the PAs that I'm working on, which are not the largest things. And so at that point, we now have our system set up. So here, with these being level, we're taking advantage of Michael Curtis's concept of, we shouldn't really have to change this stuff. But then with this existing as a buffer before all the inputs hit the systems level, we now also get to take advantage of Dave Ratt's, hey, we don't want vocal mics and high pitch and overheads and stuff in the subs polluting what they're making, keeping that, the subs focused on doing low end driving and stuff like that. And at that point, you're about ready for your show. So that's how I take advantage of both aux fed subs and matrix fed subs. Give it a try sometime. Let me know what you think.